right. You are now live. Or so the thing likes to tell me. Whew. Starting up these always makes me really nervous because I'm always worried something's going to go terribly wrong. Some kind of technical thing. I'm just going to keep talking randomly until people start joining. Oh, there's Nickery. Hi, Nickery. Good to see you. Yeah, so I'm just sort of talking until we have people join and talking about how starting these always make me really nervous. I'm generally an extrovert, but any kind of like public speaking is extremely uncomfortable. I need to do one of those Toastmasters. I'm doing great, Nickery. Thank you so much for asking. It's a glorious sunny day. This sunlight speaks to my soul. I'm so happy about it. It just brings all my spirits up. How are you? And yeah. Whew, I'm just catching my breath, like I said, from just from trying to get this ready and stuff. I'm sure everyone sort of understands this feeling of like, I'm about to talk in front of a bunch of people. So anyway, yeah, no. So I know Nickery knows, and for anyone who's watching this later on YouTube or anything like that, here in Nashville, we got dumped on with snow earlier this week. Yeah, I think we got something like somewhere between like 5 and 8 inches, which is crazy for this area. I don't honestly remember the last time we got that much snow here in Nashville. And I've lived here for almost 15 years now. Hello, Sholin. How are you? I hope you're doing well today. Welcome. Thank you for joining. But yeah, so we got dumped on with snow this week. And then today it is nearly 60 degrees. Like it's like the snow never happened. Although we here in my house, we don't really do snow shoveling here. Hello, Pauline Reed. How are you? Welcome. So yeah, we don't really do snow shoveling in this house so much. So we still have huge piles, like leading up to our front door. There's just a slope of snow. We are surviving all the weather okay. Thank you so much, Sholin, for asking. I was just saying it's melting away now, which is pretty great. I think for the first time in about a week, my husband left the house today and whatnot. We have to refill on food at some point. So yeah, all the snow is melting away. It was nice though for a while. I like snow as long as I don't have to drive in it, which I have had to do before. Yeah. So I was debating whether or not to share a story where I had to drive in snow. TLDR, basically, I had to drive 10 hours in a snowstorm from Virginia to Tennessee, coming back from visiting home. Knoxville was especially bad. We made it safely, which was great. But I never want to do that again. So, oh, Nickery, thank you so much. I have a lot of fun designing the outfits for these. I just, it's fun to get dressed up, feel a little fancy. So anyway, if you guys have any questions for me, there is a Q&A section, or like a little box thing that you can drop any questions that you have for me in there. And then I'm going to answer those a little bit later when I, do the Q&A section. So, first though, let's take care of the usual, catch up things now that we are well and truly underway. Looking at my notes here. Like I said, I already mentioned the Q&A section. I'm going to talk about tea, of course. What am I drinking? And you guys feel free to share what you're drinking as well. Today we have my Keep Calm and Make Tea mug. I do love this mug so much. And it is filled with a tea called Almond Cookie. It's delightful. Oh my goodness. It's got caffeine in it because caffeine is life. We all know this. And it's just a touch sweet. That's the, I guess the cookie part of the almond. I'll be honest, I don't really taste almond in it, but that's okay. It's still very tasty, and I love it. So yeah, almond cookie. Let's see here. So current news. I mentioned in my last Instagram live that looks like Sholin is drinking a holiday chai. I love chai. Chai is delicious. Oh my goodness, yes. You are living your best life, Shalyn. I love it. Okay, last time I did an IG live, I mentioned I didn't accidentally agree to 3 different manuscripts. I did agree to them, and I meant to agree to them, but I didn't think they were all going to be ready at the same time, which they were. So then I had 3 big manuscripts to critique all at one time. Thankfully, this week I finished 2 of them, so that just leaves 1, and I'm really, really happy to have that off my plate. Whew, it's probably going to be a while before I agree to critique any more manuscripts, because goodness gracious. Part of my problem is that my default critique setting is basically picky AF. Like, I did editing for a while for other people, and I was good at it, but holy cow, like, oh my gosh, so detail oriented, which of course a good editor needs to be detail oriented, but it is extremely time consuming. If you are a writer, just know that your editors work extremely hard. It is a very demanding job. So my critiquing is a lot more like editing, which is why it's so exhausting for me to do that. I will eventually figure out a way to find balance in this. It's a process. So anyway, but I finished 2 of those 3 and I'm so excited. So now I've just got the 1 left. Let's see. And as far as, let's talk about reading, because it's been kind of weird for me reading wise lately. I've honestly had a lot of trouble reading of late. Nonfiction has kind of been my friend. But I did finish reading a fiction book. Here we go. So I finished reading Children of Blood and Bone recently, by Tomi Adeyemi. I really hope I've pronounced that correctly. So it is basically about, it's a fantasy world set in an Africa-like country. And basically magic has been destroyed. And then our protagonist, Zaylee, she has to kind of figure out how to get magic back into the world. There is this horrible king who's really cruel. He's the reason why magic has been destroyed and whatnot. And it's really, really good. This book is amazing. I highly recommend it. I will say it is dark fantasy, and it makes sense. It came from a place of pain. There is an author's note here in the back of the book that where Tomi Adeyemi mentioned that this book came out of seeing all these reports of police brutality on the news and things like that, and she wanted to write a book that had just a lot of power, a lot of reclaiming and whatnot. Those are more my interpretation of her words. I should say that. I'd highly recommend that even if you don't read the book, you read the author's note in the back of it to kind of see like what her inspiration was in her own words, because it's really good. It's really good. And honestly, I'm probably not doing it. I know I'm not doing it justice. So yeah, really, really great book. I really enjoyed it. It was very dark and sad, which is hard for me right now. So it probably didn't impact me quite the same way it would if I had more like emotional bandwidth right now for that sort of thing. But like I said, I still highly enjoyed it. The writing, mwah, oh my gosh, the writing is beautiful. The world building is spectacular. So yeah, highly recommend Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. Yeah. Oh, and while we're talking about books and fun things, okay, this is what you guys get for coming to the Instagram Live. You get to hear about things before anybody else. So, just FYI, I'm going to be doing a giveaway soon. I am going to be giving away this book. It doesn't help if I cover up the title. A Study in Emerald is basically a, like, Sherlock Holmes meets Cthulhu meets, kind of a couple of different, classic literature monsters and stuff. I read this and I enjoyed it a lot, but being totally honest, Cthulhu isn't really my thing. It's fine, I guess. I know a lot of people like really love the Cthulhu mythos, but I just don't really, it just doesn't really do anything for me. So this is beautiful. You can see kind of here the artwork in the book. It is, oh, I don't know if you can see that. But it is spectacular. It is beautiful and spectacular. And I am going to be giving this away on my Instagram feed very soon. I've got to finish up one extra little goodie that I'm going to be giving away with it. I'm not going to tell you what. You're going to have to tune in to my Instagram feed to find out what that is. But yeah, I'll be giving this away soon to one lucky winner. So anyway, FYI there. Okay, let's see. Other stuff going on right now. And then I also finished a book recently called Yarn Substitutions Made Easy. This is an incredibly nerdy book about basically substituting yarn. It's exactly what's on the tin. It is very technical, but really well written. I figured out that it's so well written because the author is a lawyer in her day job. I see Nickery is giving all the hearts to to Yarn Substitutions Made Easy. I know Nickery really enjoys the yarn crafts as well. So yeah, it's also a really good book. I would show you, except it's on my iPad, which is giving me my notes right now. And my iPad is old and kind of frail. So like, I don't want to mess with it in case it just shuts off randomly, because sometimes it does that. But anyway, yeah, Yarn Substitutions Made Easy. Super nerdy for people who love the fiber arts. It was great. I really enjoyed it. So that's pretty much all the book and reading stuff right now. Let's see here. I'm sorry. I'm going to go ahead and take a tea break. Oh, I love it. That first hot sip of tea. Oh, it's delightful. When you're just like, oh my gosh, liquid warmth. I love it. So yeah. So also something I've been trying to kind of make a priority recently is introducing novelty into my life, because we're all still locked down, can't travel, can't do a lot of things that we would like to, that makes life interesting. So I've been playing with new recipes a lot. I've really been trying to integrate at least one new interesting recipe into my weekly meal plan every week, with different results, shall we say. Last IG Live, I talked about, again, I'm going to mispronounce this, I apologize, tuhu, which is an ancient Babylonian beet and lamb stew. And I made it. I made it that night, actually, after the IG Live. It was really interesting. So not only is it beet and lamb, which are both very strong, distinct flavors, but it also had arugula and cilantro in it, like a lot of both of those things. It was so interesting. It had flavors I don't even know how to describe, because the arugula flavor and the cilantro flavor kind of blended together with like that beetroot flavor. And it was a really interesting melange that I don't even know how to describe beyond like earthy, but also kind of whatever makes cilantro and whatever makes arugula. I don't know, but it all sort of combined into this really interesting dish. So on the last YouTube version of this IG Live, I included the link. I'll do it again for this one in case you guys are interested, because it is really interesting, that recipe. Or at least I'll include a link to the YouTube video where I got the recipe. So that was really cool. And again, novelty. We gotta make do with what we have, and food is kind of one easy way to do that. So that's what I've been trying to do. Let's see. Also coming up, I want to, excuse me. So one of my patrons on my Patreon, they sent over a link on our Patreon Discord for a spicy chicken and peanut soup, which sounds sort of weird, like peanut butter in soup, but it looks delicious, and I really want to try it, except for the spicy part, because I'm a baby when it comes to spice. I am a little wussy baby when it comes to spicy stuff. So I will probably just have like a little sriracha in there, and that is it. So, because I don't really want to blow my face off with spice, which will happen. But yeah, so, and if everyone, let me try that again. If anyone is interested, that's just the $1 Patreon patron level on my Patreon. And you get access to the Discord with that. We share all kinds of random stuff. So yeah, I'm excited about trying that recipe from that patron. So that'll be really good. Let's see here. I'll also post a link to that recipe in the YouTube notes of this as well. I'll also try to do it on Instagram. Last time I kind of like just immediately uploaded this video to, not this video, but the last Instagram video to Instagram. So like, I didn't really know what I was doing. This time I think I'm going to like try and like have all my stuff together first instead of being like, yeah, do it now. No thought whatsoever. And then that way you guys, since you guys are already on Instagram, you can have access to those links as well. So I'm gonna try to figure that out for you guys. I'm still learning. We're all learning together. So this will be fun. And then tonight we are going to be making garlicky shrimp and broccoli over rice, which I'm really excited about. I've mentioned before, my husband has celiac disease, so like we have to be a gluten-free household, and Chinese takeaway isn't really an option with a lot of that. So we do a lot of our own made-at-home Chinese takeaway, and I think it's actually like we do okay. I'll be honest, like there's nothing like those like really chunky dumplings that you get at a Chinese restaurant. I love those things. I don't know. Like, I feel like I could eat my weight in those, but I can't do it. I've tried to make those things at home. I am no good at it. So, those are like my special treat when I want to get something just for me. And we have containment measures in the house so that I don't accidentally poison my husband. But yeah, so there are at least some kind of Chinese takeaway things that we can do. Oh, Sholin says that she likes homemade Chinese food better as well. There are definitely times where it's just you can tweak the recipe just to your taste. So good. So yeah, that's kind of everything going on right now. Like I said, if you guys have questions, feel free to go ahead and drop them in the little like Q&A section. And I will go ahead and answer those. I also have some that I've collected from people before this who knew that they weren't going to be able to make the actual live event right now. So I'm also going to be sort of intermixing those. So like I said, just use that little Q&A section to let me know what you want to know. So anyway, and yes, Nickery says dumplings do sound delicious. I know what you mean. Oh my gosh. Just talking about them now is kind of making me want some, but not tonight. Tonight we make our own Chinese food. So first question I'm going to answer is from Imagery in Pages. And she asked, are you into supernatural / magic things in real life? This is a complicated answer. And I am trying to like come into these pretty cold so that I can give you guys as authentic, unpracticed answers as possible. Okay, so magic, supernatural things in real life. It's one of those things where I have my own idea about what I think about things. Like, let's take ghosts, for instance. Wicked Goblin King is joining us. Welcome, Wicked Goblin King. It's good to see you. Thanks for joining. But yeah, so like, let's take ghosts as like a supernatural thing example. I don't necessarily believe in ghosts. Like, I've never had an experience where I've come across anything where I was like, oh, definitely like a haunted thing. However, I am not dumb enough to assume I know how the world and the universe works. And I know lots of people who have had ghostly encounters. So yeah, no, that could totally be real. Like, I totally believe that could be a thing. I personally just have never had an experience like that. I'm not sure I really want to, unless like it's a really cool ghost who's like, hey, cool to meet you. Can I make you a cup of tea? Which I don't think ghosts really do, at least. At least as far as I have heard. But it would be cool. I will say though, on the subject, and talking of like things that ghosts do and don't do, if ghosts do exist, you know how on those like ghost hunter shows where they like go in to a house and they're like, hey, ghosts, come talk to us. We're here to find you. Like, that's probably not a great way to introduce yourself if you're trying to meet a ghost. Like, is that how you introduce yourself in real life, ghost hunter people? Really? Like, do you go to like to a meeting and go, hey, people in this meeting, I'm trying to meet you. Like, no, just say hello. Like, be polite. So yeah, that has always cracked me up about those shows, because I'm like, what are you doing? Like, is this how you function in real life? I don't know. Anyway, so magical, supernatural things. I don't think it's out of the question. I just haven't really had a lot of supernatural type experiences in my life. Same thing with magic. And this one gets a little bit weird because I know, for instance, Wiccans use magic as part of their faith. Yeah, and I'm not going to tell you that's not real. I'm not going to tell you that, like, I think that's fake, because sure, why not? Like, I was for a long time, and kind of still do, but in not really a weird way, was sort of associated with like the Christian church. I wouldn't like it if somebody was like, hey, whatever it is that you believe, which I'm still kind of figuring out now as I'm an adult and I'm kind of rethinking a lot of my belief systems. But like, I wouldn't want anybody coming up to me like, whatever it is that you figure out about yourself, it's not true. So I'm not going to do that to somebody else. Like, sure, maybe. Yeah, totally. Like, maybe magic is totally real. Maybe it's legit. Just because I haven't experienced it doesn't mean it's not there. So yeah. Sholin says that they have a ghost in their house that throws kitchen utensils off the counter, and their son calls him Fred. Oh, I like that you gave the ghost a name. That's sweet. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, it's not just like nameless ghost thing throwing utensils off the counter. It's Fred. Fred has feelings too, I assume. So yeah, I think that's nice. Fred the ghost. That just tickles me. I love that. So yeah, so we've got some more people joining us. Armand of 7, welcome. Nice for you to join us. And like I said, if any of you guys have any questions, please do feel free to drop them into the Q&A section, and I will be happy to answer them. Just going to go ahead and look through some of my different things here. Yeah, so that's my very roundabout answer on, do I believe in supernatural / magical things in real life? Sort of, not really, kind of, on the fence. We're going to go with that, on the fence. Definitely open to the possibility. We'll put it that way. All right, so other questions that I've collected beforehand as well. So WS Rain had asked actually a couple of different questions, so I'm going to kind of intermix them between all the different ones that I have. Let's see here. So WS Rain asked, what are you currently working on? What am I currently working on? So as far as my own stuff, I didn't give you guys an update on my own stuff. Well, there we go. Here's your update. I am working on a very, very silly sci-fi book about an alien who crash lands on planet Earth, has to figure out how to catch a ride back home before the opportunity passes. Because, celestial transport buses can only come by once every so often. In this case, it's like once every 100 years. So they gotta get on that bus and they gotta get back. But of course, things go wrong. Hijinks ensue. And it is extremely silly. This book is so dumb. There are stupid accents in this book of like people trying to pull off really, really bad English accents, really bad French accents. There's a very, very adorable and silly AI who thinks dogs are the best thing since sliced bread. So the AI is always disguises himself as a dog. I'm trying to think what else is in this very, very dumb book. Honestly, this is a book that I want to get traditionally published if I can. That whole journey is a thing. We'll see if that happens. Honestly, I'm not really sure if it will, because this is a weird book as far as like commercially speaking, and as much as we hate to admit it, publishers are very commercial enterprises and they have to publish things that they think will sell. And in order for that to happen, they have to know how to market it, which means they have to know where to slot this book. Is this book a dark fantasy YA? Is this book a middle grade adventure? And this book I'm working on, it has a very middle grade kind of flavor, because it is silly and it is stupid. And honestly, a lot of YA is really angsty. Not a lot of YA is funny, unfortunately. So that part is already really muddled as far as like, what age group is this book for? And also like publishers, again, because they're here to make money. Genre fiction can be really hard to sell because basically the market is glutted with science fiction and fantasy. There are a ton of science fiction and fantasy authors. So who knows? Maybe this book will sell, maybe it won't. Either way, I love it. This book continues to make me laugh as I'm editing it. I'm about halfway, maybe a little bit more than halfway through the first round of edits. So I am taking what was an incredibly hot garbage mess to kind of a less hot garbage mess. I already know a bunch more changes I need to make on the next pass before my critique partners see it. Nickery says that I would love to see more humor in the YA genre. Me too. I admit humor is extremely hard. Humor is so difficult to write because it's so subjective. And number one rule, at least as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to writing humor, you don't punch down, period. So that is a consideration. I'm sure people could think it's easier if you are okay with punching down, but I am 1,000% not okay with that. So, but yeah, I'd love to see more humor. I just want more silly stuff. This is a complete deviation from the question. Speaking of silly stuff, I have a recommendation for you all. If you have Apple Plus, the streaming service that Apple has, Ted Lasso is a show that I've fallen in love with. I've started watching it a second time through with my older sister because I think it's so funny. It doesn't seem like my kind of thing. If you know me, you know I am not a Sportsball kind of person. Me and the Sportsball are not good friends. I don't really understand the Sportsball. So you wouldn't think that a show about an American football coach going over to England to coach a soccer team would really be my cup of tea. But turns out it really, really is. It is really funny. It does not punch down, which makes me so happy. And it's generally a sweet show. It's really nice. So yeah, Nickery says that she hasn't talked to anyone who's seen Ted Lasso and not enjoyed it. Ooh, negatives and positives are difficult. But yeah, no, same. Like it's great. Both my personal trainer and my husband recommended it to me, and then I recommended it to my sister, who she's a really hard person to impress when it comes to humor, because again, humor is subjective. So yeah, it's been really great. But yeah, back to the book. Sorry, I tangent a lot, y'all. I like to talk. But yeah, so the very, very silly sci-fi. It's currently going through edits. And then that actually leads into another one of SW Rain's questions, which is, how long does it take you to go from writing to published? And this is a really good question. Basically, it depends, really. It depends on the book. Some books are really easy for me. For instance, I went from writing to publication for my book Raven's Cry. Ooh, it was probably about 7 months. That's the fastest I've ever put out a book. I wrote the book during NaNoWriMo in November, and then I published it the following May. And that is like 7 months from start to finish is extremely fast for me. I'm not a very fast producer. I tend to write really slowly. I tend to edit pretty slowly. But with that book, I had a lot of things on my side. I had a really, really great editor. I had the book was actually something I had cannibalized. So it was sort of in a way, in some pieces already written. I had thought it was going to initially be a historical fantasy novel years and years before I actually put it out. I had written a whole bunch of it as historical fantasy, and then realized I do not have the chops for historical fantasy. All when you write historical, you have to like really know your dates and your historical events and how they interacted with other historical events through the world. That's not really me. But I knew better than to delete it. I've mentioned before, I now have a hard and fast rule about never deleting anything, and this is why. Because you never know what you will cannibalize, and I 1,000% cannibalized Raven's Cry. So once I got started in the Broken Gears world, I realized, oh, this is where Calandra belongs. Like, she is in this world, and I know exactly how she fits in. So I was able to just take those pieces, take that general story that I'd already kind of half written, and turned it into a Broken Gears book. So like I said, I had some advantages going for me, which is what helped with that book coming out so fast after I'd really finished the first draft. But honestly, a lot of books take me a really long time, from start to finish, to it actually coming out is what I mean when I say finished. It's probably about a year at least. Again, depends on the book, depends on what else I have on my plate. This year has been especially hard because of a lot of things. But I actually have a new Broken Gears book, first draft done. I finished that during NaNoWriMo this past year. And that is what I'm going to be working on after I finish my edits on the sci-fi book. And once that's with my critique partners, I will be working on the new Broken Gears book. That I finished the first draft of it was probably about a month, because I really pushed to finish that for NaNoWriMo. I'd had maybe like a quarter of the book already written when I started Nano, but you know, it was a good, I got 63,000 words written in November, which is pretty much a book length. So of course editing that is going to be interesting, but the Broken Gears books are much easier for me because I know those books, I know that world. It's not like with this Alien book where I am trying to write for a different audience that I don't really know yet. I know the Broken Gears audience. I know everything about who likes those books and what they like and whatnot. This other one, it's a little bit more difficult to kind of get my hands around, so it's taking me longer. In case you're wondering, the next Broken Gears book will probably come out. I doubt it's going to be this year. I would love for it to be this year, but it'll probably be sometime next year, maybe early next year is what I'm hoping. And it is a very, very squishy romance. It is a very silly, squishy romance, because right now silly books are what I need. But it's a very squishy romance. I'm not going to tell you who's in it. It's a character that we have seen before who has played an important role. I'm not going to say a prominent role, but an important role in the previous books. But I'm not going to tell you who that is, because that's fun. We'll get there eventually. So anyway, so those are the things that I'm working on, and that is how long it takes me. Also, one thing about my book production speed, I have made the mistake in the past of, I've made the mistake in the past of scheduling a book release before I had other things I need to have scheduled set up. Like for instance, I didn't have an editing, done date when Into the Fire was scheduled to come out. And I ended up making the publication date, but it was extremely stressful. The release for Into the Fire was kind of a mess. I don't want to make those same mistakes that I made before then. And I have made changes in the way I do things to prevent that, because like I said, it was extremely stressful. It was a mess. I really did not handle that release well. So one thing I am going to be changing for future is I am not going to set a release date until my edits are done, like until the book is basically done, and then I can focus properly on the marketing and all the release stuff, because for anyone who has ever released a book, you know it's a lot. Releasing a book is a lot. So yeah, learning from my mistakes. That is the takeaway here. Okay, so we're gonna do more questions and whatnot. Let's see. All right, and like I said, if you guys think of anything, go ahead and drop them in that Q&A box. For now, we are gonna go ahead and move on. Let's see here. So I have let's see. Which one do I want to do? I've got quite a few really good ones, and I want to make sure to kind of hit everyone. Let's see. So actually, I got this question previously from Nickery, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Let's see here. Is there a genre you haven't written yet that you would like to try? That is a great question. A genre I haven't written yet that I would like to try. I kind of want to say cozy mystery, but that's not really true anymore because the new Broken Gears book I just was talking about is kind of a cozy mystery. So I guess that doesn't really count. A genre that I haven't really read or haven't really written that I would like to try. I'm actually looking at my bookshelf right now because I have to remember all the genres. Let's see. Do you know, I've not really done like a pure fantasy. Like I've done fantasy light, like with Broken Gears, like there are definitely fantasy elements. And Raven's Cry was pretty heavy fantasy, but I don't even know that I would call that like pure fantasy. Because when I think of pure fantasy, I think of what I call like heavy fantasy. Like there is a hardcore crunchy magic system with rules and like a lot of people use magic. And magic is kind of like the thing that makes the plot come together. And I think so far, magic is a little bit peripheral. Words are hard to pronounce. In my books, like I said, Raven's Cry is probably the closest I've written that's been to pure fantasy, but Calandra can't control her curse. Like, her curse is just her curse. So I don't really count that. I know how the curse works. So it does have rules. I do think magic should have rules, even in a soft fantasy or like a soft magic system. There are rules. A good example is Gandalf in Lord of the Rings. Like, we never really get into how his magic works. We just know that, one, it does, but when it works, like, there is a cost. Gandalf dies fighting the Balrog. So you know, like, it didn't cost him nothing to use that much power. And I know there was a whole battle and stuff involved. But yeah, like, I'm trying to think of a good example of like a really crunchy magic system. And I'm looking at my bookshelf here too, to kind of get a good example of a really good crunchy magic system. I know Patrick Rothfuss, I think. It was either Patrick Rothfuss, Dan Wells, or Brandon Sanderson. One of them starts a book of theirs with like, okay, here are the rules of magic. That's the sort of thing I'm thinking about when I talk about a crunchy magic system. I've never really written anything like that where like, okay, here are the rules. They're very specific. And then like you use those rules to manipulate whatever the solution to the plot is. So I've never really done that. I don't know that I ever will because I tend to blend genres so much. Reading Robbie has just joined us. Thank you so much for joining us, Reading Robbie. Glad to have you. If you have any questions, do go ahead and put them in the Q&A section so that we can go ahead and answer them. Nickery says that Patrick Rothfuss is one of her favorites. I've never actually read Patrick Rothfuss because his books are like this big, and it's just, honestly, that's intimidating. I worry that book will kill me in multiple ways. If it falls on your head, you are dead. Wicked Goblin King has a question as well. Let's see. Is there a type of fantasy character you'd like to write about in a high fantasy? Oh, that's such a good question. Is there a type of fantasy character you would like to write about in high fantasy? You know, I like to play with genres a lot. I like to play with archetypes a lot. We have the archetypes we do for a reason. They're tried and true. But I really like to have fun with them. So I would love like a necromancer, but not like a normal, like, I will raise an army of the dead necromancer and I will take over the world with my army of darkness. Ooh, that that voice is hard to maintain. So not a necromancer like that, but I would love to do a necromancer that like is unexpected, like a perky necromancer, and like an Umbridge necromancer. You guys remember like Umbridge like had all the pink and like the kittens on the plates and stuff, like that kind of necromancer. That would be fun. I told you I really like playing with these different things, and I like subverting expectations a lot. Subverting expectations is one of my favorite things ever. So yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun. I will say, actually, if you like that sort of thing, a book recommendation I have over there is Kill the Farm Boy. Kill the Farm Boy kind of takes all of these different fantasy tropes, and it just makes fun of them, and it the fantasy tropes that are not very, that are just, you know, they're kind of sexist, honestly. Like you have the warrior woman who's like in a bikini for some reason. It totally takes the piss out of that. I love it. So Kill the Farm Boy does that a lot. I really like it. Trying to think if there's any other characters, any other like fantasy characters that I would like to write about in a high fantasy. Let's see. I also really love like small common magics. I mean, you can have your epic sorcerers and stuff who can like, you know, raise tidal waves or whatever. That's cool. I get it. But I kind of want a sorcerer who can only do like tiny magics. Like, you know, if they were evil, I actually want to play a D&D character like this one day. One day I will do it. But like an evil wizard character, but they're actually not very powerful. So like the most powerful thing they can do is like let the air out of your tires when you're not looking. But they can do as much of those as they want, because in the D&D world, like cantrips are free basically. Like, so they could do as much as they want, and then but they can do all these like really like petty little magics. I would love that so much. So that, I think that would be fun. Let's see. Reading Robbie has asked, what are you reading right now? That is a great question, since I just finished 2 books. Earlier, Robbie, I was mentioning I just finished Children of Blood and Bone, which was excellent. This was such a good book. And also a yarn book called Yarn Substitutions Made Easy, which is highly specific. So yeah, I need to figure out what I'm reading next, because I literally just finished that book last night. Yeah, I have one of Gail Carriger's around here somewhere that I haven't read yet, called Poison or Protect, and I was looking for it, but okay, you guys can't see it, but like off camera, right over there's a whole cart of books. It is going to crush me to death. And I think it's somewhere on there. So I think I would like to read Poison or Protect next by Gail Carriger, but like I said, I need to find it. It's somewhere in there. I'm sure. I'm just looking at piles upon piles of books over there. So I think some Gail Carriger is what my soul needs, because like I said, I love some sweet, silly stories. And Reading Robbie says that Children of Blood and Bone is on their TBR right now, which is great. Yeah, highly recommend. It is very good. It's a bit dark. It came from a place of pain, but that pain is very relatable and authentic, and it's just great. I highly recommend it. So there we go. Yeah. So like I said, y'all, go ahead and bring up your questions. You can leave your questions in the little box, or honestly in the text chat. Either one is fine. I'm cool. I'm flexible. Whatevs. So we're gonna do another one here from my list here too. Let's see. So SW Rain, like I said, she gave me a bunch of them. So let's see what else I'm going to do. Let's see. So a couple of these are like kind of lightning round questions. So I'm going to go ahead and actually do a couple of them all together. So what is your favorite mythical creature? Dragons. Always dragons. I freaking love dragons. Why wouldn't you love dragons? Like my little... Wait, it's hard to point. It's hard to point with this. Like my little light there. Always love dragons. Dragons are just cool, and I think it's amazing that pretty much every ancient culture throughout the world has some kind of a dragon myth. Maybe that's dinosaurs. Maybe it's not. Who knows? They're just really stinking cool. So always dragons. Let's see. She asked me what the first thing I ever wrote was, and I have no idea. I've honestly written my whole life, and I know that sounds really trite, like, oh, I've written my whole life, I'm an author, but genuinely, I don't remember. Oh, thank you, Nickery. Nickery says the lamp is amazing. It is pretty great. I love it. He takes care of me when I'm reading and it starts to get dark. Let's see. SW Rain also asked, what is my favorite book? That is extremely difficult to answer, but honestly, I think it's probably going to be Pride and Prejudice, because I've read Pride and Prejudice, I don't know how many times. It's quite a few times. Plus the iterations, like Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. I've read that one. It's another feel-good book. I love Elizabeth. I love Darcy's journey from being a giant prick to actually being like a nice, decent human being. So yeah, probably Pride and Prejudice. I mean, there are a lot that I really love and I highly recommend, but I think that one is just my tops. Let's see. What is your favorite song? Okay. I think my favorite song changes possibly week to week, just, as I hear and find new music. I'm not hip, guys. I gotta be honest. I'm not hip to what is new, what is hot in the music world. Which I know is terrible because I live in Nashville. I live in Music City. I really ought to be like better with music, but I know what I like. I like what I like. I randomly find what I like. So yeah. I will say my favorite band, at least right now, and has been for a long time, is Icon for Hire. If you don't know about them, they are very positive. It's kind of alternative EDM. Again, I'm bad with music, guys. I don't really know how to talk about it. But yeah, kind of rock. I realize rock is such a broad category as to not actually mean anything, but yeah, so very EDM, like really heavy bass. I love the heavy bass. I want my music to have teeth. I want it to be gritty a little bit. I mean, there are some like soft, happy love songs and stuff that I like, but a lot of times I want my music to be able to bite. So yeah, Icon for Hire is great, and I have not yet listened to their new album that was pointed out to me actually by Nickery's husband. So thank you. I need to do that perhaps tonight. So yeah, I'll go with favorite band instead since I have no favorite song. I will also say one of my favorite songs though right now, and it's kind of the theme song for my silly little alien book, is called oh shoot, I'm gonna be able to remember the name of this band. The song is called Misfit, and I think it's called. I think the band is something like High Dive for Hearts or something like that. If you guys know it, please tell me because I cannot remember. But it's something like that, High Dives for Hearts or something, or maybe just High Dive Heart. But anyway, Misfit is adorable and I really like it and it makes me happy. And that's kind of the theme song for the book I'm working on right now. So yeah, let's see here. Other questions. Like I said, you guys just throw them at me. Let's see. I need to make some more notes here on links to post as well. Make sure I don't miss anything. Let's see. I do have a question here from my friend Ashley. And it says, do you find your time reading / editing other people's work influences your own work? Sort of. Okay. This is a complicated answer and I apologize in advance. Basically, yes. I think anytime we read anything, it's going to influence us somehow. I don't really believe in kind of this purist idea that, oh no, I have to like keep my own writing voice pristine and I don't want to adulterate it with other people's writing styles. I just don't think it's possible. I'm sorry. Like, I just don't think that's possible. Like, are you never going to watch anything? Like, if you watch TV, you're hearing someone's writing voice. If you like, or a movie, same thing. Everyone has a kind of writing voice about them. I sometimes think about writing voices as like their personality. That's going to influence you. I mean, and I think, honestly, I think you're worse off if you're not consuming some kind of entertainment to kind of figure out what you like as a writer, to kind of figure out your own voice. Because, for instance, like if you look at your shelf and you look at your favorite authors, you can identify like, oh, these are the things about my favorite authors that I really enjoy. And if you really enjoy that thing, whatever it is, you're probably going to include it in your own writing. But that's not a bad thing, because then when you include, for instance, if you like beautiful atmospheric descriptions or something like that, like when you write those scenes, you're going to put your own spin on it. Where the Reader Grows is joining us. Thank you so much, Where the Reader Grows. Happy to have you. Thank you so much. But yeah, so like I said, anytime you write anything at all, it doesn't matter what you're writing, you're putting your own spin on it. So yes, I do think reading and editing other people's stuff influences me, but I don't think to like a negative degree. I think if I was trying to copy someone else's writing style, and Laura Author 34 has joined us as well. Welcome, Laura Author 34. Good to see you. And Lauren that's right. I know who you are. Lauren, sorry. I misread that. That's Laura Horror 34. I know who that is. She's one of my IRL friends. Hi, it's good to see you. I cannot read, which is a problem for a writer. But anyway, so I think that being influenced by other people doesn't really like make your writing worse. I think if you think about it critically, it makes your writing a lot better, because then you identify, these are the things I like. This is what the kind of writer I want to be. Which I will say, I think identifying the kind of writer you want to be, no matter like what you write, whether you write poetry or if you write short stories or novels or anything, or any kind of creator at all, really, if you're an artist, comic artist, anything like that, I think kind of identifying that is really helpful in creating your art, because then you have direction, you have goals, you know what you're shooting at, which is a really good question. Thank you so much, Ashley. Hi, Laura. So let's see. We have like 7 minutes left. So if you guys have any other last minute questions, just go ahead and either drop them in the chat or in the Q&A box, and I will be happy to answer them. So yeah, let's see here. I noticed most people come in at like 3:30. If you guys prefer me to do this at a different time, I am flexible. Like I said, I'm kind of learning as we go, the kind of like best times and best days that work for people. So I can always move this a little bit later if that works for people. So yeah, just looking here through some of my other questions that I have from folks who went ahead and asked them previous to this. Let's see. WS Rain had also asked, what events do you enjoy attending? Okay, let's pretend there's not a pandemic for the moment. When I was able, in the before times, when I was able to attend events, I really love steampunk cons, of course, the steampunk getup. I love talking to people, as you guys can, I'm sure, tell. I love hanging out with people. I love meeting readers, especially. So like book events, book festivals, things like that, and steampunk events are always my favorite. We have a really, really great one here in Nashville called the Southern Festival of Books. That's like our statewide book festival, and it is so much fun. Honestly, that's one of my most favorite events of the entire year, and it's huge. Like 12,000 people come to that. It's 3 days. It's outside, which I will say, it has rained every year that I've done it, which is not great for books. Books and rain don't really mix, but it's still fantastic. I love that event so much. So yeah, just anywhere that I can like talk to people and hang out with people and talk about books and reading and all that kind of stuff. Those are my favorite events. Anywhere that I can dress up. Ta-da! Those are I love them. As far as like events where I'm not working, which I will say this is a problem for me. I understand the issue of balance and everything being about the work life. Food festivals. If I can go to like a wine festival, a cider festival, anything like that where I can like pay a fee and then just like eat whatever I want, those are great. Those are fantastic. This girl loves to eat. I don't know what else to tell y'all. Or any place that I can like learn. So for instance, I would love like a world food festival or something like that. Oh my gosh, Nashville, I need you to get on it. Cause like a world food festival where I could like go, I could eat delicious food. And then if I could then talk to the people who made it, and you can tell me like, They can tell me how this food developed. Like, they can tell me stories about like their family eating that food. That would be amazing. Honestly, like that would be my heaven if I could do go to a food festival and hear people's stories of like how like this has impacted their lives and like kind of their food traditions and stuff. Cause I really enjoy learning about other cultures as well. Man, that would be the best. I would love that so much. That would be like the best thing ever. So yeah, those are the kind of events that I enjoy doing. So yeah, let's see. We have like 4 minutes left. So let me see what I can do really, really, really quick. I always have questions left over after these. Let's see. So, oh, you know what? Wiccan Goblin King had given this to me a little while back. So I'm going to go ahead and ask this. The writing life seems both quiet and very intense. How do you balance? Okay, so first of all, I mentioned earlier, I am an extrovert and I need people. I need people like I need sunlight. So basically, honestly, I feel bad for all my friends because what I do is when I write and I'm focused and I'm just like in the zone. And then I'm like, dear God, I need people. Like, I try to find you on Zoom. I try to find you on Instagram. I try to find you guys in text messages. Sorry. I haven't had as much people interaction this week as I would have liked. So, yeah, like I try to get the people interaction as much as I can. And I try not to be picky, especially during these difficult times where, you know, meeting in person just isn't really a great option for a lot of people. So, you know, I've tried to find things that we can do that maybe aren't as, aren't traditional or like aren't as orthodox. So for instance, the other night, I really, really, really didn't want to just like hang out by myself all night the other night. Mike was playing some online poker and enjoying that. So I was kind of like, okay, cool. I'm all by myself and I really want human interaction. So I called up my sister and we watched some episodes of Ted Lasso together, just on the phone, like just with our little headphones in. And so we were hanging out like together while watching the same TV show at the same time. You know, we did like the sync of like, okay, 1, 2, 3, press play, so that we could like be watching the same thing at the exact same time. Yeah, I honestly, I will try to get as much of that sort of thing as I can because I need the people interaction. So anybody who says like they miss people, I feel you. I totally feel you on this, you guys. So yeah, that's kind of how I balance. And sometimes it works better than others. It kind of just depends on the week or the day. So yeah. Anyway, although this week we are having some really nice weather and I'm so excited about it. It's going to be like 65 degrees one day and I'm meeting with a friend for coffee because a lot of our coffee shops, they have outdoor seating and I feel okay being outdoors. I don't feel okay drinking coffee indoors. There's a whole big distinction there for me, at least right now in these times. So yeah, like we're going to be sitting outside with our coffee, hanging out in person. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So yay for nice weather so I can like sit outside with people. I'm so excited. So yeah, anyway, that is about an hour for us. You guys, thank you so much for joining us, or I guess joining me. And yeah, I super appreciate you guys hanging out and I hope you guys have such a good day. Until next month when we do this, we'll do this again around end of March. Yeah, that'll be great. And of course I'll announce it on Instagram and stuff. You guys can always drop your questions in ahead of time. But yeah, so thank you all so much. Have such a good day and you guys take care. Bye.